and blessings to all. The program Folklore Internacional presents this week English country dancers. The first video we'll see is a documentary that will teach us the history of country dances. Country dances are a very important part of the American culture. The second video we'll see is a party where you can see dancers enjoying themselves in their folklore. And the last video that will close the program today is very interesting. Children performing at a school, which shows us that Americans keep their folklore by teaching new generations about their dances. A very special thanks to all who see this program every week. See you next Monday.
English country dance is a form of folk dancing that was popular during the Renaissance era. It eventually gained popularity in the social circles of all levels of society. Today, you can often see it performed at Renaissance fairs. Couples dance in sets of various shapes and weave their way through a series of ingenious patterns that appear and vanish like the images in a kaleidoscope. The level of interaction this requires between all the couples in the set makes this a very social dance form.
I got involved with English country dancing at the Renaissance Fair, and that's where I learned how to do it. I loved the Renaissance Fair already. Then that's how I found a way to be part of the Renaissance Fair.
I got involved in English country dancing because I saw a flyer at Cabrillo College. I was experimenting with trying to find some social thing to do, and I had tried other kinds of dancing, so I saw that flyer. It had a resonance with my heritage, just the idea of it, so I wanted to try it, and that was over 16 years ago, and I've been doing it ever since.
Started at the first Renaissance Fair in 1967. There was some of this, but it isn't what I did for the first dozen years or so. But about 1981, I joined a troupe that did English country dancing as well as Morris and Longsword dancing. I danced with them from 1981 till 95. It's one of those things that it's a social thing. It gives you a little exercise, keeps you in shape. I've been doing it now for about 30 years. I dance with people that are 20, 30, 40, 50 years younger than me, which helps keep me younger. Keeps me from getting old.
Every year is a Renaissance Fair. I was out for 12 years. I'm back again. And I dance because it's fun, it's social, it's energetic, so I get my exercise. Lots of fun. It's just great to be on stage dancing.
It's kind of like you get to step back in time and pretend that you live in a different century.
Welcome to Stuck in Vermont, brought to you by 7 Days in HD. That's right, we've gone high definition. My name's Ava Solberger, and we're here in the Ellie Long Music Centre in Colchester, Vermont, for an English country dance party hosted by the Burlington Country Dancers.
I love dancing, I do.
Practically the most fun you can have standing up. somebody says to you, oh, we're going to do Orleans Baffles, and you say, oh, yes, I love that dance.
It's fun, it's inexpensive, you meet a lot of nice people.
I love it. Like, everyone's wonderful, and there is always live music, which is great.
It's our passion.
I didn't start out as a dancer. I'm sort of a klutz.
I had a friend when I was in graduate school who did Scottish dancing. That's where I met my wife, and we've been dancing probably over 30 years.
I started back in the early 1980s. I was an avid contra dancer.
I have to admit it, I was interested in finding a venue where I could actually make these dresses and then dance. Right.
I started dancing actually for English country dance a long time ago. Probably I was in middle school.
I was pushed around and pulled around in a total daze, and all of a sudden it just kicked in and I loved it.
I am a dance caller and leader for English country dance. I have been doing it for almost 30 years.
Come back up. Separate from pass around one leg, circle, west.
English country dancing is a tradition that dates back to the 1600s. That's right. Elizabeth I enjoyed it.
It's just a muscle memory. Once you get it in your body, it's not a problem.
Believe it or not, it's becoming a lot more popular with the young folks.
Yeah, there's really a lot of English dancing around, and you don't hear about it.
Hands in a ring, get it level. Partner set. Pass by.
It was also the rage during the time period of Jane Austen. Perhaps you remember it was at a country dance where Elizabeth snubbed Mr. Darcy in Pride and Prejudice.
This was very important to her in her life. She not only wrote about it in her books, where these kind of social interactions at the dance figure very prominently, but she also wrote in her journal and her letters to her sister about dancing herself.
That's right. Jane Austen loved dancing.
It's so beautiful, so romantic. I was a literature major, and when I do these dances, I feel like I'm in a Jane Austen novel.
Like, I remember the first time I came, the first dance, they said, this dance is from 1799, and I just went,
It's been around for quite a few years, decades actually, and started out as more or less a university group, a lot of university professors and IBMers.
I'm an engineer at IBM, and I dance for recreation.
Computer people and engineers, and they like the precision and the patterns.
And just a few years ago, we started adding the element of live music.
So what happened? Once passed out, last time.
Well, it's music that dates from 1651 all the way to the present.
So I play here frequently, and so do a lot of wonderful musicians.
If you've never danced before, you don't even need to take lessons. You just come to an evening's dance. Usually the dances start off fairly easy.
I like to dance with beginners a lot of times because I like to help them, and I don't mind dancing as a man.
English dancing is a small enough community, even nationally, that you see people at big weekends, you see them at events.
And so once you get into it, you can travel and do it at different places, and then it becomes really your friends. And most of our friends are really English dancers because that's where we spend most of our time.
Lovely dancing.
Happy 2011. We'll get stuck in Vermont with you again very soon. And here's a little bit from Jane Austen's Persuasion. The girls were wild for dancing, and the evening ended occasionally in an unpremeditated little ball.
This was like the chance that women and men got to talk to one another.
unfortunately, there's no one else our age here. So